see the face of Jewish vengeance.
The Inferno in the last part of Quentin Tarantino's Inglourious Basterds includes a significant allegoric image. While highly flammable film stock is inflaming a cinema packed with high-ranking Nazis, the face of Shoshana Dreyfus, alias Emmanuelle Mignon, appears on the screen. The Jewish girl that had to witness the killing of her family and then adopted a false French identity in order to hide from the Nazi occupiers, finally transforms into a ghostly cinematic image. This image, characterized by its dissolving nature, is situated in a significant area of in-between screen and theater, in between reality and imagination, and in between trauma and revenge. We can decode this dissolving image as figuration of ambiguity, as a spectral image in twofold ways. It appears as spectre and avenger of the German crimes, and it is amplifying the various and conflicting historical subject positions identified with the Nazi past and the Holocaust. Shoshana, the passive victim, absorbs increasing agency through transforming into Emmanuelle, which broadens her sphere of activity and finally by fading into a spectral cinematic image. This transformation can be seen as allegoric because it interrelates subjective agency, modes of performance, and historical imagination. The medium film thus actively generates historiographical agency exactly through its ability of imagination, and not primarily through its ability of representation. Another blurred image. What does it show to us? Nothing? Is this space empty? Do we see? What do we see? Can we only see what we already know? This opening sequence reaches beyond the visible. Before we can recognize anything, we hear the sounds of birds and distant voices. This scene explains the aesthetic approach of the film Son of Saul. During the following 100 minutes, the camera will stick to the protagonist, member of the Sonderkommando in Auschwitz. Thereby it visually exhibits just a very narrow part of the camp's reality. Close-ups of Saul's head and back dominate the visual field. What we recognize in the background, at the margins of the frame, are just blurred insinuations of already known situations: the incoming trains, disoriented deportees, the registration procedure, preparations for extermination, treatment of the dead bodies, violence, suffering, and death. However, we can only see what we already know. The limitations of the visible in the context of the limits of representation concerning Auschwitz and the Holocaust characterized the aesthetic approach of Laszlo Nemes' Son of Saul. The film follows Saul Ausländer, an Hungarian member of the Sonderkommando in Auschwitz. Through Saul, the viewers witness the automated process of extermination that the Germans implemented and forced the Jewish Sonderkommando to execute. At the same time, we recognize how these men transform into operating executors of this process, more and more losing their human attitudes. Another blurred image. What does it show? What can we see? At the peak of the mass deportations from Hungary to Auschwitz-Birkenau, members of the Jewish Sonderkommando, forced by the Germans to help carry out mass killings in the extermination facility, secretly took 4 photographs, which Georges de Lieberman once identified as images in spite of all. These photographs are the only known visual evidence from the camps that was not depicted from the perspective of perpetrators or taken by Allied soldiers in the immediate aftermath of liberation. These photographs were often shown in cropped ways. They show the burning of bodies outside of the crematoria. Despite their infinite character, the original photographs reveal much more of the dangerous situation the photographers were in when they took these images in spite of all, as Georges de Lieberman has once called them. The blurred opening image thereby resonates with the indefiniteness and blurred fuzziness of the Sonderkommando photographs. In this sense, the historical photographs serve as a starting point for a cinematic journey into the reality of Auschwitz-Birkenau that is based on images of absence, and simultaneously argues in favor of the capacity of images to provide access to the past. These images of absence are not able to document the atrocities. However, they constitute a cinematic space in which the experiences, memories, and additional knowledge about Auschwitz and the Holocaust can resonate. Another blurred image in another film. It is hard to identify what this shot shows. We are too close. Photographs turn into evidence. We need to explore them, to read them, in order to understand, to find traces. This scene, showing the investigation of photographs, resembles another scene from another film. How can we access this intermediate space between past and present?
So, wie wollen Sie denn aussehen? Sie können es sich aussuchen. Manche meiner Patientinnen bevorzugen Zara Leander, andere die Söderbaum. Obwohl sind beide jetzt wohl aus der Mode. Da draußen laufen jetzt sicherlich einige Herren herum, die auch gern ein neues Gesicht hätten.
Ich möchte so aussehen wie früher.
Das wird schwer und ich rate Ihnen, darüber nochmal nachzudenken.
Warum?
Ja, einerseits kriegt man das nie ganz genauso wieder hin und andererseits ist es auch von Vorteil, ein anderes Gesicht zu haben.
Was soll denn das für ein Vorteil sein?
Ja, Sie werden ein neuer, ein anderer Mensch. Man identifiziert Sie nicht mehr. Das gibt Ihnen die
Ich
Möglichkeit.
möchte genauso aussehen wie früher.
Christian Petzolds Phoenix depicts post-war Germany as a highly artificial setting that reflects processes of imitating and reconstructing an imagined pre-war world. Hence, the film rejects the principle of representation in favor of the mode of imagination, an interplay of life and fiction. Ambiguity and ambivalence of subject and speaking positions play a crucial role in this setting, which is significantly oscillating between play and replay.
7, 6.
In Phoenix, a German man, Johnny, encounters a woman, Nellie, who looks alike his deported wife, not knowing that it is indeed her searching for him. Surgery reconstructed her face that was brutally distorted in the camps. Guilt, love, betrayal, and the conflicts between memory and forgetting fueled the entangled storyline of the film.
Haben Sie Nelly verraten? Manchmal ist das ja auch kein richtiger Verrat. Sie haben sie versteckt. Die ganze Zeit mussten sie sich um sie kümmern. Und dann wird man festgenommen und verhört. Plötzlich lassen die einen frei. Und dann eilt man zu ihr, um nach ihr zu sehen. Und man merkt nicht, dass man verfolgt wird. Dann war es zu spät. Sie stehen da und können nichts tun. Sie müssen zusehen, wie Nelly abgeholt wird.
Steigen Sie ab.
Nellie, on the one hand, becomes the object of Johnny's fantasy to rebuild a past which is unaffected by the loss of his wife and especially his own guilt
Kommen Sie.
of presumably having betrayed her. On the other hand, Nellie participates in this roleplay.
Nächste Woche lassen wir Nelly zurückkommen.
She herself is longing for reconstructing her pre-war life and looks for a comfortable version of the story.
Auf dem Bahnsteig werden sein ich, Sigrid, Monika, Friederike, Walter und Alfred. Der Zug wird ankommen. Es werden viele Leute aussteigen. Du solltest am besten hinten im Zug sitzen. Dann wird der Zug wieder anfahren. Und dann werden sie dich sehen. In dem roten Kleid, in den Schuhen aus Paris. Und es wird die Nelly von früher sein. Die werden ganz erleichtert sein. Die werden auf dich zulaufen. Sigrid wird die Erste sein. Sigrid ist immer die Erste. Ganz theatralisch wird sie nach Worten suchen. Ich kann es gar nicht fassen. Nelly. Und dann umarmt sie dich. Und Alfred, der immer alles verniedlicht, wird sagen, die kleine Nelly. Fehlt nur noch, mein Gott, bist du groß geworden. Monika wird dir von ihrem Mann erzählen. Ich habe immer gewusst, dass du zurückkommst. Und Friederike, die wird jammern, wie immer. Über sich, über Berlin.
Und wir?
Wir werden aufeinander zugehen. Ganz vorsichtig. Wir werden nicht sprechen. Nicht küssen, uns nicht umschlingen. Einfach in den Arm nehmen. Du legst den Kopf auf meine Schulter. Und wir schließen die Augen. Beide.
Phoenix is a cinematic reflection on the construction of history, a reflection that blurs historiographical, ethical, and aesthetical boundaries. When Nellie is walking on the corridors of the hospital, like a somnambulist, she encounters photographs of her lost pre-war life and of her friends, who appear to her like ghosts from the past. These photographs on the one hand serve as sources for reconstructing her face. On the other hand, they are traces of those who were killed or transformed into Nazi perpetrators. Hence, these photographs blur the distinction of past and present, a blurring that establishes a porous visual style, which highlights the ambiguity of the situation and creates another transgressing image of the in-between.
Speak low. When you speak love, our summer day withers away. Too soon, too soon. Speak low. When you speak love, our moment is swift, like ships adrift. We're swept apart too soon. Speak low, darling, speak low. Love is a spark lost in the dark. Too soon, too soon. I feel wherever I go that tomorrow is near. Tomorrow is here and always too soon. Time is so old and love so brief. Love is pure gold and time a thief. It's late, darling, it's late. The curtain descends, everything ends too soon.
At the end of the film, Nellie is vanishing. She is transforming into a blurred image, and thus enters the cinematic space of the in-between. Similar to the ghostly image in *Inglourious Basterds*, this fading, this moment of dissolving can be interpreted as a significantly cinematic moment. Indeed, the historiographical agency of Phoenix is expressed in the blurred character of this image. Both the trauma as well as the collaboration and betrayal can only be located in such a space beyond representation, in which imagination and memory, fictionalization and repetition intermingle, the in-between space of the persisting uncanny.